So I'm just quickly showing like how a typical data engineer job description looks like with Snowflake, DBT, and Airflow. Just the technology stack that that I'm going to teach, right? So when I have searched for this, so you see here, first of all, the in the job description they are going to ask demonstrate a deep understanding of SQL. Okay, so now to anyone, if you want to enter into the data engineering industry, so hope you already know. So SQL is the main prerequisite for entering into this particular data engineering industry. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just I'm going to show you what kind of tools are required to become a data engineer, right? So the first step is you need to know about the SQL part. So this is kind of a prerequisite to enter into the data engineering industry, right? And when I go back, so they're also asking for analytical data warehouses. Snowflake is preferred. There are a lot of data warehouses in the market like Snowflake, Redshift, BigQuery, SAP HANA, Teradata, right? But yeah, so they're asking for Snowflake here. So Snowflake is really popular in the data warehouse area now. Okay, another technology stack they're asking for, and the other includes like demonstrated ability to write new code. This is a common thing, and this is like GitHub is a version GitHub or Bitbucket. So this is a version control tool. They're asking for some knowledge and the version control tool like GitHub. Okay, so right, and what else they're asking here? So they're asking about most of the DBT and Apache Airflow, Snowflake, right? And they're asking about AWS Cloud and Python. So if I extract the technology stack from here, what else they're asking? So they want DBT, Airflow, AWS Cloud, Python.
Since we can, as AWS, we can do with Azure as well and GCP as well, right?
Yes. Yes, yeah. I'm going to show you, tell you that. Yeah. So see, there are multiple clouds in the market, Azure or Google Cloud Platform. So you can have any one idea, like one cloud idea, but AWS is like leading. It started the cloud first, so it is leading the majority of the projects with AWS. But yeah, Azure is currently picking up in the data engineering area. Okay, so yeah, any cloud is fine here, not a problem. So this is irrespective of the cloud, so you can learn Snowflake here. Okay. So now if you see, so these are all the things that we need to understand to become a data engineer for this particular stack, right? So
Yeah.
nowadays people are expecting multiple things to become a data engineer. It's a kind of full stack data engineer. Just you learn Snowflake, and then if you want to go into the market, so it's little bit difficult for you to get the jobs. So you should also know the all the other integrating tools that can be used with Snowflake here. Okay. So similar way, I have designed my course. Our main focus will be on the Snowflake. So this is like around 20 to 22 hours of session. And then we are going to cover how to integrate DBT with Snowflake and how to integrate Airflow with Snowflake, right? And how to use AWS services with Snowflake. So all these things I'm going to cover here. Okay. So Airflow integration with Snowflake, AWS integration with Snowflake, Python integration with Snowflake, and how to use GitHub to load your code, to collaborate with other developers, right? So all these things I'm going to teach, and also I have some pre-recorded sessions of SQL. So if you need SQL, so I'm going to share these pre-recorded sessions with you people. Okay, or if you want some SQL sessions also, like we can plan 1 or 2 hour sessions, so that you'll get a good idea of how to tackle the problems like scenario based questions. When I say scenario based questions, when you go to the interviews, they will be asking you like what is the second highest salary, how to find the second highest salary from the table, right? These kind of standard questions will be there. So I can teach you like how to tackle that problem, how to break that problem into multiple sub problems and come up with solution, right? So those things also, if you, I mean, if that is mandatory for you, if you don't know SQL before, so I can also add this 1 or 2 hours extra sessions on the SQL part. So this is what our course content is going to be. And just here in this particular PDF, so I just outlined all the detailed course content, like the first 5 modules here, first 5 chapters here, that's going to be completely on the Snowflake part. So our main focus is on the Snowflake, right? Then I am going to cover Python integration with Snowflake, then AWS integration, DBT integration, and Airflow integration. Okay, so this is going to be our course content, guys. So
How much, I mean, duration?
be around one 1.5 to 2 months, I can say. So Monday, I mean, like if I take 5 days a week, it will be around 1.5 months.
And in the database, we are going to cover DMS service or in the,
AWS
just,
DMS, you're asking about AWS DMS?
yeah.
Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
I can cover.
nowadays, I'm hearing the DMS service.
Yes, yes. So that is one of the data loading service given
Mm.
by Snowflake. Yeah, I will show you that how to load the data. So basically, what I'm going to do here is, so we are going to design different pipelines. Okay. So I'm going to provide you some data sets. Okay. I'm going to provide you some data set. For example, if you take, I'm planning this particular thing. So if you open like Telangana data sets actually. So recently I found this is really interesting data set. So open data from Telangana. So they provide different data sets here for agriculture, groundwater report and all. So now what we are going to do is I'm going to provide the data sets through some Python, or we will bring these data sets. I will also show you how to bring the data using Python from this particular website. Okay. And then what we are going to do is we are going to build three pipelines, I can say. Okay. So pipeline one is just use AWS DMS. Yeah. As you said, AWS DMS is for data loading, and then use Snowflake as your target. And the pipeline two that you are going to build is pipeline 2. I can use like Python plus Snowflake, just Python plus Snowflake. And the pipeline 3 that we are going to discuss is pipeline 3. So we are going to use DBT, Airflow, Snowflake, right? So now we are going to see different data sets and try to implement these pipelines. Okay, these pipelines using the data sets here. Okay. So now some, one might,
It- Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry. Like I was completely mechanical background where luckily I mean, I shifted to software and I learned, I was in the data field, but for now, for me, learning Python will be slightly bit difficult. Right? I mean, I know that now the ChatGPT was there and everything there where I can able to take the help of that, but still I feel that how I can able, I mean, whether it is easy to clear the interview part of point of view in the Python side. I mean, you got it. What I'm trying to say.
Okay,
Python.
your voice little bit breaking, Mallikarjun, but what I understood is, so can I learn Python because I'm not from kind of programming before,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yes.
Okay, so thing is, see, Python is, I can say, if you take any of the programming language, Python is the easiest programming language to learn. It's very simple. You don't need to write so many number of lines of code. Okay, and Python is a vast thing when you consider, like, if you're a data scientist, the learning path is different for Python. If you're a data engineer, the learning path is different. If you're an application developer, the learning path is different. If you're a DevOps engineer, the learning path is different, right? So for a
Okay.
data engineer, there are very limited number of packages you need to learn. Okay, so how to handle the data with data frames, how to connect it to different databases like Snowflake, Postgres, right? How to connect it
Mm.
to something like this website, like the Open Data Telangana. Just I wanted to connect through API and bring the data, right? So these kind of things, if you know, right, that is enough for a data engineer. So they don't expect you like a full stack Python developer.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So you don't need to be like an expert in Python for this. But having knowledge is really important because nowadays this is like become mandatory. Previously it used to be optional, but even for a data engineer, this is now becoming mandatory.
So we can be able to be ready like any like in interview point if they ask you to write any Python code. I mean we will be in that position, right? I mean we
Yes,
will
yes,
cover
yes,
that some.
yes, yes. I will be covering that. So by end of this course, yeah, you will be able to. Uh, I will be guiding on the interview part and like how to prepare the resume and how to clear the Snowpro core certification for Snowflake. Now, yeah, as you people know already, I mean, some people might be confusing what is this pipelines and all, right? So where do I fit this particular technology stack? Okay, so I will quickly show you the pipeline process or ELT process, what we call it as ELT process or ETL process. So, for example, why we need all these technologies? What kind of business problem I am going to solve by using these technologies, right? So take your Amazon. Let's say I am logging into my Amazon e-commerce website. Okay, so I wanted to order some product here, right? Amazon online. I'll go here, and maybe I wanted to order a book here, right? So for example, I wanted to order this book, right? So now what they are going to show you is they are going to show you here maybe similar author kind of books or similar genre kind of books, right? So everything is like some motivational kind of books I'm getting here, right? So how they are coming up with this kind of patterns, okay? And now they are saying like you buy these three together. So I came here to buy one book, but they are saying these three together you'll get this price, so there may be a discount offered for me, right? So what is happening in the background, right? So how Amazon is trying to recommend more product and improve their business, right? So what is happening in the background for this? So what Amazon does in the background is generally Amazon has different systems, source systems, we call it as OLTP databases. Okay, OLTP. So we call it as online transaction processing databases. OLTP databases. So what these databases are? So these databases are designed for storing the current data and small volumes of data. So when I say current data, so for example, what is the product inventory available in my Amazon, or what is the current orders done by the customer, right? So all those things I am going to put it in the OLTP system. So this is a database. OLTP system is a database like you might have heard about Oracle, MySQL, or Postgres. These kind of databases will be used for OLTP purposes, and these systems can store the small volumes of data, but the response is really faster for these systems. So these are transaction processing systems. That means they go to a particular row really quick, they'll write it and they will read a particular row very fast, right? But as the data is getting older, for example, I am using my Amazon account for the last 10 years. So my previous order history, my previous browse history or something, I don't need to keep it here. Otherwise, it will affect my performance, right? So that is where all that historical data I will be moving to another system called OLAP system. Okay, online analytical processing systems. Okay, we call it as OLAP systems, or we can call it as data warehouses. Okay, data warehouses. Okay, and yeah, Snowflake is one such warehouse. You have Redshift, you have BigQuery. So there are a lot of, data warehouses in the market. Okay. So now these systems are designed to have huge volumes of historical data, and reading from those huge volumes is really faster. Okay. You can perform some analytics from this particular historical data. So now what we do is simply we are going to move, as the data is getting older, we are going to move the data from OLTP system to OLAP system. So getting the data is called extraction, extract. Getting the data from the source is called extraction, and putting into your data warehouse is called load, right? Now, once the data is available, so we call the data as the raw data here, okay? Because it is coming in the raw format from the source, right? Now, what we are going to do is we are going to transform the data into curated data here, okay? I can say curated data or modeled data, we can call it, right? So what is this transformation looks like here? What is this transformation, right? So for example, I will give a simple real time example. Like let's say you are getting water from different sources into a lake as in the raw format, and now you wanted to purify that water. You want to purify that water so you can use it for drinking purpose, or you want to do some other process and do it for use it for agriculture purpose, right? So similar way, this raw data will be transformed so that it can be consumed by a data scientist, right? A data scientist. What does a data scientist will do? He is going to apply some algorithms on the this historical data and come up with these kind of recommendations. Okay, so data scientist is going to perform these tasks. So recommending, predicting. So all these things are done by your data scientist. And there will be another person sitting here with who is consuming our data called data analyst, right? So someone said you worked as data analyst. You might have used some of the reporting tools like Power BI or Tableau to pictorially represent your data. So these reports are useful for the higher level management to understand their business. So for example, I wanted to know what kind of sales are happening on my particular product in a particular region, right? So this is done by your data analyst. Okay. Now, where does the data engineer sits here in this particular diagram, right? So data engineer sits here who is responsible for developing these pipelines from your source to target here, right? So this is a part of your data engineer. So a lot of stuff is there inside it, not only extract, transform, load. You need to take care about data validations, data quality. So a lot of stuff is there inside. Okay. So now the tools that I am discussing here, where these tools will sit in this particular workflow or in this particular flow, right? So Snowflake is the data warehouse, right? So Snowflake sits here. This is Snowflake. And DBT is a straightforward transformation tool. Okay. So if you want to do the transformation, we use DBT here, right? And for extraction and loading, someone is asking like AWS DMS, right? So AWS DMS is one of the service that can be used for extracting the data from source and putting into the target. Okay, and you can also use Python for this. So Python can be used for extraction and loading. Even Python can be used for transformation. So Python is everywhere. Python is everywhere, right? And if you want to schedule all these things, you might need Airflow. You might need Airflow here, right? So I wanted to schedule my job daily at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m., right? So to do that, generally we use Airflow. Okay. So this is what the a typical data engineer uh, work looks like. Okay. So these are the kind of technologies we are going to use to implement these kind of data pipelines. So this is for Amazon case. For a different use case, different business, we might get the data from a social networking website like Facebook, or I may get the data from a sensor or an application, right? So we are going to aggregate all this data, and then we are going to do some transformations here and perform some analytics, and it will be used for the data science use cases.
Uh, but in extract and load, I think we can keep DMS, right? I mean, deciding AWS.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned here. AWS
Okay,
DMS,
sorry.
specific services,
Maybe.
DMS. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And you have a lot of other tools also, ELT tools, Informatica, Talent, and you have Matillion that does extract, load, transform. Okay. So for every for every use case here or software here, you have instead of Snowflake, you can use Redshift or BigQuery. But why we are using Snowflake? There are some special features that are making Snowflake different. Why I'm using DBT instead of Informatica? Maybe it is something special here. Okay. So yeah, the current trend is Snowflake, DBT, Airflow stack is really becoming famous for Snowflake. Okay. Previously, it used to be Snowflake Informatica, Snowflake ADF. These are the ETL tools.
ADF.
I have
Yeah.
seen that trend in the market. Previously, like 3 years back, it was Snowflake plus Matillion. Matillion is one of the ETL tools. So
Yeah.
depending on the features they offer, so now the stack is changing, but Snowflake remains static. So this is our core, and these tools might change. Okay, might change, but currently this DBT, Airflow, Snowflake stack is really famous. And AWS, yeah, cloud anyway, there are only 3 clouds. There is no much change here. And Python also stay there.
Maybe because of the open source of Airflow, I think Airflow, even Airflow, instead of Informatica, DBT is little bit cost one. I mean, maybe we can open source
Yeah,
it
so
in.
DBT, I'm going to show you like DBT has some special features. Like you can check your data quality, and you can check your data lineage, and you have a tight integration with GitHub. So there are like so when I'm picking this particular, for example, I'm picking Snowflake. I will tell you why Snowflake is different from other databases, and when I'm picking DBT, I will tell you how it is different from other transformation tools. Okay, so we are going to cover that. So any questions, guys, in this pipeline or technology stack or about the course content?
Like you mentioned that sensor application. I mean, whether we are going to, I mean, we are real time extraction we are going to do, or only we're doing the batch processing,
We are only
like
going to focus on the batch processing. So if you want to do near real time, again you may go for some near real time use case using Kafka, but like you can also do one thing. Maybe if you want a real time thing, we can do AWS DMS plus Snowpipe. So there is a concept called Snowpipe, which can do ingest the data in the real time. So we can try that. I can guide you like if you want to do real near real time. But most of the focus, 90% of the real workloads will be batch processing only.
batch. Oh,
So guys, if you doesn't know what is near real time or batch processing, don't worry. So we are going to discuss about that. Okay, this brothers. Okay. So now quickly, I am going to show you how to spin up a Snowflake account. So whatever technologies that we are going to learn, everything is free. Okay. So Snowflake is offering 30 days free trial. DBT is offering 14 days free trial. Python is an open source. AWS is offering 1 year free trial. Airflow is an open source. So you don't need to buy any software, or you don't need to install any software inside your machine. Everything is on the cloud. Okay. So now we will quickly see how to spin up a Snowflake trial account. Okay. So let me go here. Just simply type Snowflake trial, Snowflake trial. So Snowflake is offering a 30-day free trial account for you. Okay. So just you need to fill your details here. So your mail and everything. And you need to choose why you're spinning up for Snowflake and click on continue. Okay. And here give your maybe company name and right. And here Snowflake is offering three different editions, guys. Here, okay. So generally, let's say you're buying a car, so it has a different versions, right? So something power windows you have, something some special features you have. So similar way, Snowflake has three different editions: standard, enterprise, and business critical. So standard has very basic features, and enterprise has standard plus some extra features. Business critical is the highest edition available for Snowflake, which has more security to your data. Okay. So for our classes, you can consider enterprise or business critical. Anything is fine for you. Okay. So just choose the edition here, and then here choose your cloud. Okay. So which cloud you wanted to run. So when I say Snowflake, Snowflake is simply a cloud data warehouse. So you cannot install this particular Snowflake software on your laptop or your machine, right? So it should run on any of the clouds here. So either Microsoft Azure or AWS or GCP. So now I am choosing this AWS here. Okay. And see here, as soon as I choose AWS, it is going to choose the uh, region we call it as, okay, where exactly my Snowflake is going to be installed in the AWS region. And then simply check this box and get started. So you can skip the survey questions here. Okay. So now you will be receiving an email to activate your Snowflake account here. Okay. So just let me go back to my email ID. So you'll be receiving an email from Snowflake saying activate your Snowflake account. Okay. So just you need to activate. Okay. So first you set your initial username and password. So this is how your Snowflake user interface looks like. So this is called SnowSite. Okay. So it's a browser-based interface that Snowflake has developed. Okay. So now, if I want to develop something here, right? So first of all, you need to click on this projects and go to worksheets and the plus symbol. Just click on the SQL worksheet here. Okay. So now here, if I want to run any query in the SQL, so you write the query here. Okay. So for example, I want to run a query, right? Select star from select star from. So there is some sample data already preloaded with Snowflake. So these are all the sample data sets. So simply I am running select star from a customer table. Right? So this is the data set that it is returning to me. And in the right hand side, you are going to see the statistics of this particular query. Right here, you're going to see how much time it has taken and how many rows it has written and what are the statistics like what is the minimum value, maximum value, how much percentage this is filled, right? So all those statistics are can be referred from in the right hand side here, right? So this is how your Snowflake user interface looks like. So we are going to see what are the different options available here, right? And how we are going to use it. Now, just we'll see very high level details about the Snowflake architecture. Okay. So if you see Snowflake architecture, now I would like to understand whenever I run this query like select star from a table, how these results are getting, right? So this particular query is going through three layered architecture. Okay. This is the three layered architecture of Snowflake. Okay. So if you see the first layer, this layer is called cloud services layer. Okay. The first layer is called cloud services layer, right? Now, what will happen in this particular cloud services layer? So when I run select star from table, first of all, your syntax will be checked. That means whether this query you have written as per the rules. For example, I did not give from. So what it does, it is going to throw an error saying you missed the from clause or there is some syntax error here, right? So syntax it is going to check. And then if your syntax is good, it is also going to check the access. Okay. So for example, I am writing select star from this syntax wise, this is good. But instead of customer, I am giving customer one, which is not existing in my database. So it is going to throw an error. Okay. So saying this is not exist or you don't have access. So it will check the access as well as whether the object or table existing in your database. Right? So these checks are also done by your cloud services layer, the first layer of Snowflake. Okay. And we call this particular layer as brain of the Snowflake. Okay. This is the brain of the Snowflake. Right? So now the third step it is going to do is optimizer plan. Okay. Optimization of your query. So does anyone know what is an optimization or optimizer plan for a query? Why do we use it?
No,
Okay. So generally, I will give this example. Let's say you are reading a book and you are in chapter 10 and you went for some break. You came back and you wanted to go back to this chapter 10, right? So instead of going page by page and jumping into chapter 10, what is the quickest way to go to chapter 10? There is any other way?
like opening the directly to chapter 10. I mean, like by going to index, right? You
Yeah,
go to
the
the
index
index
page,
page. And,
right?
yeah.
The index page, and you'll see, okay, chapter 10 is in page number 100, and you try to jump there, right? So that is one of the fastest way to access your page. Similar way, in your database, you have multiple paths to access your data. Okay, so when I say select star from this customer table, there are multiple paths to get this data. So optimizer is going to decide what is the fastest path, fastest way to get the data, right? So is generated by this cloud services layer. Okay, right? And this particular cloud services layer is also responsible for metadata management. Metadata. So what is the metadata? Anyone have an idea?
The database will get stored like schemas, everything. It's
Yeah.
data.
So whatever object you create, for example, you have created a table and we are going to store what is the table name, what are the column names, what is the data type of it, what are the sizes of it, what are the constraints of it, right? In which order the columns are created. Everything will be captured in the metadata layer. Okay. So cloud services layer is responsible for capturing the metadata here. Okay. So this is the first layer of your Snowflake. So once your particular query went through this cloud services layer, your optimizer plan is ready. So the second layer, the very important layer, is your compute layer. We call this as compute layer. Okay, the compute layer. So what is this compute layer? So this is having a server to execute your query, because to execute your query you need to bring the data, you need to maybe join the tables, you need to aggregate the data, right? So all this stuff needs to be done through some computation power, right? So you need a server machine, you need a machine for that, right? That machine is called virtual warehouse in Snowflake. Okay, so that machine is called virtual warehouse in Snowflake. So your query will be running on this particular virtual warehouse. And the beauty with Snowflake is this virtual warehouse come with different sizes, t-shirt sizes. So for example, this is my virtual warehouse here. Okay, Snowflake is offering me two virtual warehouses by default. Okay, and if you see, the size of this virtual warehouse is extra small. So for example, I want a big virtual warehouse, I can go for a small, or I want to go for a medium, large, extra large, like this. So if you increase the size of the warehouse, your query may run faster. This query may, previously one query is taking 2 hours time, but when I increase the size of the warehouse, it might take 30 minutes only. Okay. So because you have more number of memory, more number of processors, right? So that is how your virtual warehouse is designed. So if you want to run any query, definitely you should have a virtual warehouse that will be running here. Okay. So this is your virtual warehouse layer. Okay, or compute layer you can think of. And the third layer of Snowflake is storage layer. Okay, so this topic will have three layers. The architecture will have three layers. So this is where you can think of where your data is stored. Okay, so you can think of your hard disk of your computer, right? So where exactly the table data is stored is in the form of micro partitions. Micro partitions. So the data is stored in the form of micro partitions in the storage layer. So does anyone know what is the advantage of storing the data in the form of partitions?
Uh, it is easy to pick. I mean, like, I mean, I'm not getting the example, but whenever it divide and whenever it required, we can able to pick easily, and query part will be
Faster query result, right?
fast. Yeah.
That is what the partition meaning. So I'll give you a simple example. You're going to a school and I asked you to find a student name XYZ in class 10. So people are sitting in their own classes. So what you do, you simply go to class 10 and ask for XYZ. Okay, but if all of them are sitting in an auditorium, so finding that student is really difficult and time taking, right? So because the students are partitioned based on their class, you are going there and you're bringing the data or bringing the student really faster. Similar way, your data is stored in the form of partition, so that if I am querying for, let's say, year two, let's say I'm partitioning on the year, so I'm querying for year 2025 data, so my query will go only to 2025 partition and bring the data faster. Okay, so this is how a micro partition structure looks like. So if I have a table with 24 rows, so your micro partition one is like this, two, three, four. Each partition is having 6 rows here, 6 into 4, 24 rows here. Okay, so this is your third layer, that is your storage layer. Okay, so this is the overall architecture of Snowflake, guys. This is kind of, I mean, in the interview they may ask you like why, what kind of Snowflake architecture it is, and ask you to explain three types of layers. Okay, or in the in the Snowflake Snowpro core examination also, you might get some questions on this. Okay, so this is about the Snowflake architecture. Okay, so I will stop it here today. So I don't want to overload you with multiple things. So in the next class, the regular sessions, we are going to see about each and every feature of Snowflake. Okay, as per this particular document. So initially, I will start with this Snowflake introduction administration like this. Okay.